Rise, everyone. Hope everybody's having an amazing afternoon. I came across a video, guys, that I said I gotta show you, okay? It's very touching. It's very deep. I'm sure it's gonna really bother. I promise you guys, this is probably gonna be one of the most difficult videos that I've ever reviewed. It's emotional. Hopefully it's thought-provoking for a lot of you guys. It's about fathers choosing to become deadbeat dads. Many of us grew up without fathers. Many of us understand what it's like to want a father in your life, to want that type of hero in your life, and grew up without them. You know, many of us know people who didn't have fathers. Many of us know men now who are not being fathers to their children. So this is an epidemic that we know is rampant in our communities. And this is going to give us an insight to a lot of what men are thinking. Rarely do we ever get to talk with fathers who have an opportunity to be fathers but choose not to after the child is born. But I got this video, man, where this guy is expressing why he don't want to be a father. And when he tells you his reasons, man, I'm sure to him, they sound like good reasons. But man, listen, it's a lot of men out here who may be going through this exact thing. But then next, I'm going to show you guys another video that gives another reason or other reasons why a man may not want to be a father. Now, me personally, my children mean the world to me. I couldn't imagine what my life would be like without fathering my children. They mean the world to me. But I've always been blessed to have a great co-parent, great mother to help me raise them. A lot of what these guys are going through, they didn't necessarily have that. They had a broken thing, and it kind of trickled into how they treated their child. And man, it's deep. So we're going to get into this video, guys. I want you guys to really listen with your hearts. Try and not be judgmental. Try and listen to this, guys. It's very, very, very serious, okay? Listen at this argument that they're having inside of this car. I'm going to stop the music. Listen closely to this argument that they're going to have inside of this car, okay? And just try and hear this man out, okay? I'm sure a lot of you guys it's going to be difficult for a lot of you to hear. It's difficult for me to hear, all right? But let's get into it, family. Woo! Let's get into it.
Get out my bro. You don't gotta get out, bro. Come on. See you. Bro, I used to take care of him, bro. She broke up with me and got with another. Bro, how you sound? You talking about? Cause she not. I can't take care of the kids. Shut that shit up, bro. I can't take care of the kids. And she with another man, bro. Hey, dog, shut that shit up, cause you pissing me off, bro. I damn near ain't gonna want you in my car because I'm trying to tell you, bro. Like, bro, you talking about it is that serious, bro. Like, don't condone this shit, bro. He telling me right now, this man telling me right now he ain't taking care of his kids because his baby mama got a new boyfriend. Listen, bro, who cares? Bro, I'm serious, who cares? Bro, who cares? I'm trying to explain it to you, though, bro. It ain't no. Why do you care about? Why you care so much? This is what I said, bro. Like, you dumb too if you believe the fact this man just said out his own mouth, I ain't taking care of my kids because my baby mama got a new boyfriend. She posted a picture with her and the dude and my kids, bro, on Facebook, bro. Who give a bro? This ain't about the man that hurt my feelings, bro. It's about your kids, bro. Bro, you sound like emotional ass. You sound like a soft ass, emotional ass right now, bro. You mad about you mad.
Now listen, guys. I don't know what you guys are thinking so far. I'm gonna have to pause at times, family, because I'm reviewing somebody else's video. Okay, can't just play that video all the way out like that. But as you can see so far, one man is saying he don't want to be a father to his children. He don't want to go by there and see them. He don't want to do nothing for them because the lady he was with has a boyfriend now. She's posted him on Facebook. Now listen, to him, he's dealing with the pain of it all. To him, it's, yo, you don't understand how that made me feel, right? It's embarrassing. You got my kids up there on a picture on a public site, like it's on Facebook. But that is emotion, okay? Because when you become a father, there's a responsibility, family, a devotion, okay? There's a devotion that comes to being a father to your child, and that's outside of the mother to your child. You understand? You should have this responsibility before your child is even born, that you know what type of father you're going to be, and you should continue to try and be that father. we haven't gotten into a woman trying to keep you from your children yet. So let's not get ahead of it, family. But this is where he has the choice to go see his children, but he is choosing not to because the woman has another man. And I'm telling you guys, that emotion right there, that temporary emotion, man, if you allow that emotion to keep you from performing as a father, your child is going to receive the damage from that. Do you understand? And that's your future self. And when you're not around your child, you don't get to pour into your child. You don't get to raise them. You don't get to guide them. So there's a broken thing, and that creates a generational curse. Yes, your heart is broken, King. But man, you be a father and you keep on being a father because your child needs you. You understand? When you forsake your child becomes broken. They don't know who they are. They don't know who to get their confidence from. They often search themselves in other people, trying to emulate those people. It leads them to a trail of broken hearts, family. They don't know how to treat women. They don't know how to raise their own children. They don't know how to be capable in life. They miss a whole perspective, and that's the perspective of their father. Their father. They're made in your image, family. They come from your DNA. They need your experiences. You can't share with them your stories when you was coming up. You can't share with them the things you've been through. For a child to be denied that family is to be cut off from who they are. Do you understand? And you can't allow an emotion to keep you from performing, because what you're going to do is create, like I said, a generational curse that's only going to continue. It's only going to continue. Your child's going to be brokenhearted, man. I'm telling you. And it's going to be, and that's just, I'm just talking about the emotion of the child, but their lack of knowledge, the lack of love they receive, the lack of guidance they receive. All of this, family, is what is creating our world today. Fatherless men, fatherless women, motherless men, motherless women, us not doing our parts. Okay. Now listen, guys, emotionally, women can become the same way with their children. Whenever the man moves on and finds someone else, the mother can treat the child with punitive treatment. She'll criticize the child for looking like the child, looking like the father. She'll criticize the child for having the attributes of the father. You know what I mean? And she'll tell these horrible stories to the child. You're gonna be just like your daddy. And it's almost like she pulls back too, even though she's in the child's life. That love, that outpouring that she would have for her child is kind of quenched because of the pain that she has from that child's father. We got to stop recreating this with our kids. Do you understand? Let's continue.
About your kids, bro. Don't tell me what to turn. You about to get out this motherfucker in a minute, bro. Oh, you want to kick me off? Because you got to fix that shit, bro. You got to fix that shit, bro. Like, ain't no way you can sit up here and tell me, bro, I'm not going to be friends with no man that don't take care of their kids. That bullshit ass excuse, bro. You ain't talking about shit right now.
How do you men feel about that? I grew up like that. I felt like that my whole life. I'm probably starting to feel a little bit differently about it now. But my whole life was, if you don't take care of your kids, yo, get away from me. That's man or woman. You can't give me a recipe from a cookbook. You can't talk to me about the Dallas Cowboys game. I don't want to hear nothing you have to say if you don't take care of your kids. That's just the type of person that I was. I didn't care why. Man, you be a mother or a father to your kids. You go home and take care of your kids. I don't want to hear it because they never asked to be here. That's always been my philosophy. You understand? So this man sounds like he lives by my philosophy, right? You don't take care of your child, man. You could just get up out the car. You can't even give me directions. Like, I lost all respect for you because you won't take care of your child. I think he's speaking from a child without a father's point of view, the pain that a child would feel because he's taking emotion out of it. He's only speaking about, you need to take care of your child. Forget all of that. Forget all the stuff you talking about. You see what I'm saying, family? You have to kill that emotion inside of you and focus on reality, and that reality and work, family. I'm telling you, don't allow your emotions to deter you, man. But anyway, so I'm similar. You understand? If you don't take care of your children, I don't want nothing to do with you. But I also feel like the man is already expressing he's lost his woman. He's hurt about it. He's bitter about it. No, at the place he is right now in life, he don't want to perform. I feel like the man could talk a little bit, speak a little bit of life into him. He's already broken and beaten up. He's hurting. And men a lot of times won't provide that type of love to another man. You know what I mean? So we're going to talk more like the way he's talking. And so there's really no male space where a man can go get that type of healing. Like, I understand that you're hurting, King, but you got to take care of your child. That's not something that you can put in the realm of emotion. You cannot use your emotion to cut yourself off from your birthright, from your child. You understand? You got to keep on pushing, man. There will be times where you sad. There will be times where you up. You know what I mean? But in none of those times do you step away from your child, man. You know, you just cannot. And you have to will this, family. You have to believe, you have to know this before you even have a child, that you're never going to step away from that child. That child has to be more important to you than that relationship, especially once that relationship severs, man. I promise you guys, you can't let that relationship, how that relationship ended, keep you from performing as a parent. Those children are going to need you regardless, man. Let's go.
So how you grown, bro? Like, if you want to take care of my kid, you talk to her? Oh no, you telling me. I just told my ass you get your kid. Like, no, I ain't gonna pick them up. She with that some weak ass shit, bro. You she cheated on me with this man, bro. I'm hurt, bro. All that, bro. At the end of the day, so your kid's gonna suffer because you mad about another. That shit happens every day, bro. That shit ain't cool. That shit happen every day, bro. That shit happen every day, bro. Ain't no excuse about you not taking care of your kid. Oh, she took a picture with my kids. Like, that shit weak, bro. That shit over, bro. Okay, I understand it's weak, bro, but that don't mean shit, bro. Like, you acting like a ass right now. Like, you acting like, bro. You acting like a ass, bro. You acting like a ass, bro. You acting like a ass, bro. John, if you got kids with it, right? If you got kids with it, you taking care of your kids, and then you come home and cheat, and then she got another. She kicked you out the house and move this in at the together for 3 years, bro. Man, shut up, bro.
Now look, I hear this a couple different ways. So you see how he's like, man, she done cheated on me. I done walked in, caught her cheating on me, and now she done kicked me out and moved this dude in. Like, she done jumped ship while having these children. So like, this woman is sleeping with him, had children with him, and then met a whole nother dude while she with this man. Like, come on now. But anyway, the guy is hurting about this, right? That's still no reason to not take care of your children. But when he told his homeboy just said, man, shut up. I ain't trying to hear that, because it's kind of like, I'm only focused on this child right now. But this man right here, though, man, he hurting. And there's not really much understanding given to the brother. You understand? So I feel like as men, I think it's a little bit bigger than just cutting somebody off if they're not a good father. I think it's more about trying to talk some sense into him, man, being a brother to him, being a listening ear, if that makes sense to us, man. I know that we don't really want to deal in the realm of emotion, but I think when a man comes to you like this and he's expressing himself, we have to hear the brother out and understand there's a pain. If we're going to try to defend that relationship with that child, I think if we offer the man guidance rather than tough love like this, we could probably get somewhere. But a lot of us just want to cut the man off. But you hear the man in the back seat saying, what's the big deal? Why you care about how he is with his kids? So as you can see, it's not many men that hold other men accountable to being fathers. So if you kick him out of your life, what's the likelihood of somebody else having these type of conversations with him? You understand? So sometimes when we can't get somebody to understand where we are in the moment, or something that they're doing is directly in conflict with our own morals, something we've been through in life, it's really hard for us to be patient with them. And I think that's what his homeboy is going through. He done seen enough children grow up without fathers. It's probably something he's really passionate about. He probably has children of his own and got his own standards of his own. And so hearing his homeboy say he ain't taking care of his children, it angers him. So they're both angry. So I think one friend is angry enough to cut the other one off. And while I've always stood by that, hearing a real conversation and hearing a man say what his reasoning is, I've never heard a man say his reasoning other than she was doing things to make his life a living hell. I've seen it when women try to hit a man over the head with crazy amounts of child support. He really can't afford it. And all of a sudden he'll get upset and he'll be like, forget them kids too. You know what I mean? So I have seen that happen, but I haven't seen it from the standpoint of a man in a heartbreak. This is crazy, because what it says, ladies, is even though a lot of you guys may be saying that's wrong, that's weak, it happens. It happens. And we want to criticize and shame everything, but It is a part of our reality. Men will walk away from their children sometimes if you break their heart. So if you have a child with a man, you got to understand how important, it is that you treat this man right. This man may not even want to be a father no more. If your morals break down, she's cheating on the man, so he's angry with her. So it's hard for him to love his own child past what this woman is putting through. I just feel like you cannot allow your parenting to live in that emotional place where you don't want to see your child no more because of something the other person did. I think that the child ultimately pays that toll. And while our feelings are genuine, years from now, man, it just ain't gonna matter. You're gonna have a child, a future self out here that did not get what they needed, and the damage is done by then. I know you're hurting, but man, goodness gracious, try and be a trooper. All right, let's continue.
Shut up talking that shit. You're not finna say you sound dumb. You ain't finna talk that shit in my car. You take care of my kids, I would too. I would. You know why? Because you was my. You don't want to take care of your kids. You a bum, dog. You a bum ass for that, bro. You a bum ass. You said you just like the rest of these bum ass.
Now look, you see how he telling you a bum for that, bro? You a bum. Like you see how he telling him, man, I don't got no respect for you anymore. I will say this. I wish the ladies in our communities would hold ladies in our communities to this same type of standard. I don't mean y'all yelling at each other and screaming on each other about it, but I really do think that if we held each other accountable, our communities would be better. We really don't understand that we are creating the communities we live in with our behaviors. We're complaining about what our communities look like, but it's through our behaviors that our communities look like that. You understand? If we were actually being more careful with the people we choose to lay down with and not having all these broken relationships and leaving these relationships so early because there's other people out here, and we got all these websites that we can meet all these people on, so we don't really take anything serious, even if you got children. Women will run off and take all their children away from the home just to go get a new man to take care of those children. And that's because there's men that will do it. But you got to understand, man, you going and getting another man, don't replace their father. Those children still want that man to be their father. They often won't even like that guy that you with. They often will fight against him. So you simply going and replace, it's not like a boyfriend. You can't replace a father. You simply going to get another man. It's not going to give the children exactly what they need. You understand? Sometimes it can definitely be a blessing for them to have another male figure in their life. But I'm telling you now, that's not the ideal situation. The ideal situation is you raising the children with the man that you laid down with. So we need to make better choices, family. And if women held each other to that same type of accountability, look, I don't care if he hurt you. You don't keep that man from his kids. I don't care if he hurt you. You don't treat that child any different. You love that child. Don't you put that child through that because that man did that to you. Don't you put that man through that. Cheating is something totally different than being a father. Yeah, he didn't treat you right. Absolutely. But that your child needs that man. Don't you push him away. I promise you, I wish we had that same type of standard in our female spaces. Male spaces, a lot of times it's not this level of accountability either. Like I said, I haven't really seen a lot of this. I wish we had more of this as well. It's nice to see this, but I do feel like he's been a little bit rough with him. You know what I mean? But let's continue.
She's just like these bitter ass, sensitive ass, busty shit. Bro, I don't got no respect for you no more. I have zero respect for you no more, bro. You get the on my car. You gonna stop me out, bro? You can get the out of my car. Bro, what are you talking about, bro? Get out of my car. We in the middle of right, bro. We can box. Bro, we can box and get out of my car. Yeah. We at, bro? But I don't give a I don't give a get out my car. You don't gotta get out, bro. Car. Better see you. I'm gonna see you. Yeah, see.
Now look, guys, he's willing to put the brother out in the middle of nowhere. Nowhere. The man said, "I'm with you, man. I don't know where I am." Like, so he already had his heart broke. He already had his girl cheating on him. She already replaced him with another man. She's taking pictures with his children. To that man, his heart is completely shattered, y'all. If you only understood the men who really want to be there for their children, the men who really genuinely want a family, they long to be in the home with their children. Look, whenever she crosses the line and goes outside the boundaries and breaks all the rules, cheats on him, does him wrong, kicks him out, replaces him, he's on the outside looking in, looking through the window like a damn ghost, watching another man father his children. That is heartbreaking, family. That's far deeper than just some simple breakup. You understand? So you got to understand what the man is already going through. He didn't just lose a woman, he lost his family. It's to men who really want to be fathers, that is so important that their fathers, that their children are in their home. They want to be the protector to their child. They want to throw the ball with them. They literally want to be in the home and be a family with their children. Men, you got to be careful who you choose as your partners and make sure they understand the long haul. That we in this for life. If we have these children together, at least we're going to try and work it out so we can do that. So let's try and create harmony, because we don't want a broken home, man. I don't want my children to be outside the home being raised by some other man. I want my children to be raised by me. They're my children. They're my children. Yeah, my heart would be broken, especially if it's not on me. Like, she cheating on me. Like, damn, you just gonna do a brother like that and strip my whole family from me, because then she gonna get the kids too. She gonna cheat on me and she gets the kids. So I'm just assed out. Yeah, you gotta understand this man's pain. On top of that, his friend is just gonna put him out the car. And you wonder why men be offing themselves. You wonder why men be ending themselves. It's like we don't have a space to go to. You understand? Like, I know what he's saying is horrible. I know what he's saying ain't right. I know what he's saying is counterproductive. I know it is. Like, you saying you don't want to be a father to your children because of what she did to you, that's a whole nother thing. Now we can deal with the heartbreak, but man, that shouldn't be a part of it. You not want to be a child to him, but like I said, his friend is so turned up about that issue. He's probably traumatized, like I said, to the point to where he don't even care anymore. He's just angry. He's ready to fight him. Talking about we can box, ready to put him out in the middle of nowhere. That's just not how you should treat your friend. That's a side to him that could change with a calm, logical conversation. You could probably talk some sense into this brother. Clearly, he ain't had many men around him pouring into him this truth. Dude in the back really like, why you worried about it? So he probably ain't telling him that. And even the guy that he's talking to he ain't really getting it. Like, what you mean? What you mean I'm a bum? What you mean I'm emotional? Like, man, you're emotional. Like, you saying you heartbroken, so you're not gonna be a father. Yo, that don't make no damn sense. Yo, you gotta be a father. Like, let's continue, family.
You can see me now, you can see me tomorrow. Don't keep y'all in the mix. I don't know. I'm not cool with no take care of their kids. Tell them out put another. You ain't taking care of. Bro, you don't understand, bro. Stop, bro. Get the out of my car. I'm asking you nicely, bro. Get the out my car. Get out my car, man. So how do we get back home? Get the fuck. I don't give a fuck. And this back here condoning that shit. I ain't condoning shit. Why I can't? I thought it chill. You said you want to be cool. Bro, shut my get the out of my car, bro. You should have been condoning that shit. I ain't condoning that shit, bro. Condoning that shit, bro. We the middle.
Now, how do you guys feel about that? He telling his homeboy in the background, you condoning that shit, bro. And he goes, I ain't condoning that. It's like you are. You being understanding to his emotions, but you're not being logical about what needs to happen next. Look, when you're dealing with another man, you can understand, like, okay, look, bro, I understand that you're feeling some type of way about this, but you also understand what must be done, right? Thank you so much, Walika. We've been taught to master our man frame our whole life. When you are angry, be angry yet sin not, because there's consequences in that sin. If you're angry and you start fighting, let's say they get outside the car right now and they start fighting. They fighting over a righteous reason. He's telling this man, go home and be a father to your kids. You need your ass whooped for talking like this. I don't necessarily disagree, but based on the circumstances, man, honestly, the man just needs a listening ear. You can probably talk some damn sense into him. He's really not thinking rationally because he's in pain. But just imagine you see these two black men out here fighting. There's going to be consequences to that. And what they're fighting over actually ain't that important. The damage is going to be done. I hope you guys are understanding what I'm saying. So when you're talking with a man, you got to remind him of emotions versus consequences, emotional awareness, emotional integrity. You can't always let emotions lead you. You got to be a man regardless of how it makes you feel. And I know that sounds like we don't care how you feel. What I'm telling you is how you feel don't make the world go round. It's what you do as a man that makes the world go round. I'm telling you, there's consequences for your actions, not your feelings. So don't you turn your back on your child because your heart is broken, man. Your child pays that price. Your child didn't do that. So your emotions are you're too focused on the emotion and what the lady did to you. When your child is sitting here, they didn't do none of it. They had no part in that. They didn't introduce her to the dude that's cheating on you. They didn't help her meet him. They didn't buy her the phone that she used to use the app with. Man, that your child didn't do none of that shit. And they're gonna be sitting here with a broken heart because their daddy ain't there no more. Yo, and that's sad. Meanwhile, she got this other man up in the child's face. Now you're trying to get to know this man. Daddy don't never come around no more. The child wondering why. Why daddy don't ever come around me no more? Why daddy don't reach out? Mother like, because he a piece of shit, right? Man, look at her. Over a heartbreak, man, you don't turn your back on your child. And I know that sound, I do care about how it feels, the heartbreak of it all, knowing that someone else is in there with your family, but your children didn't do that to you, man. Like, they didn't do that to you. So you have to you got to separate that. Okay, like I said, master man frame. Even when you are sad, even when you don't understand what's going on, you stick to your standards. That's what defines you as a man. You need to understand that even when your heart is broken, you be a good father. You understand? Even when your heart is broken. Let's continue. Look, even if you're not financially stable, you understand, you be a father to your child. You spend time with your child. You give them wisdom. You give them what you have. You don't always have everything. A lot of us men, we can lose sight of what it means to be a father and what it means to be a provider through keeping up with traditions. You got all these holidays that tells us to go buy these children stuff. You got 4th of July outfit, your Easter outfit. Then you got a birthday. Then you got Halloween. Then you got, that's a Halloween uniform and candy. Then you got Christmas. And each time you sit here measuring yourself according to what you can do for this child on those holidays. Sometimes, man, you got to understand, if you don't got it, your child don't get it. Make them something. Teach them the value of the holiday. But it don't have to be you raining down on them with gifts that you know you can't afford, when you should be worried about more about providing for them the basic needs. They got all these holidays that, man, that keep us so distracted, and we be letting our manhood, our fatherhood, be attached to how much we can do for our children behind these holidays, trying to keep up with the Joneses. Your child don't love you for all of that stuff, man. Your child want to be around you. They want to get to know who you are, what you about. Tell them your stories of your life. Give them something to work with, man. You're not passing them the baton. They just sitting here empty, running the race with nothing. When it's you who got to pour into them family. And yet you got a background that you came from, but since then there's things and lessons that you've learned through experiences that you've been through. That you're gonna send your kids to school, the teacher's gonna teach them one thing, but the experiences of life, you as a father got to be the representation of that. You got to talk to them about the first time you had your heart break, the first time that you scraped your knee, when you learned to ride a bicycle, the first time you had a bully. All these types of things, man, will help your child to better handle their own life. You understand? But when you send your child out here without the knowledge, the know-how to be able to function in this society, they're gonna make a lot of mistakes. But you're supposed to be there to provide the data so they don't make so many mistakes, man. And we're allowing our emotions, per this video, allowing our emotions to stir us away from our birthright. That's your future self. That's your only way into the future. You don't want to traumatize the mind of your future self. All you're gonna do is just cause a generational curse. Let's continue.
I'm not gonna kick it with no. Look at this. He deserved it. They'll take care of your kids.
Man, that's rough, yo. That I gotta tell you, that's rough both ways around. I hate to be this man's children. I hate what he's going through. But we gotta vet better. He's already had children with her. Then she started cheating, but I'm sure there were signs there that he didn't notice, that probably wasn't a woman for him. You understand? But I'm gonna show you guys another video. This was by Corey Holcomb. Man, what he's about to say, y'all, is gonna be challenging. It's difficult for me to hear it. When I was hearing it, I was cringing. So brace yourself. If y'all got a seatbelt on, buckle that mug up right now. If you tighten your belt up, tighten your necklace up, tighten everything up. Button up your shirt. Okay. This, I'm telling you, brace yourself, because the way he about to say this, a lot of us ain't ready to hear it. I wasn't ready to hear it. As soon as I heard it, though, I said, man, I got to show this to him. I got to show this to the family. Okay. Now look, you're going to want to judge. You're going to want to criticize. But what he's about to say is going to be breathtaking. But try and hold your judgment. Try and hear what this man is saying. Okay. Now, you heard the first brother talking about how he didn't want to be there for his children anymore because the woman cheated on him, had another man in the house, taking pictures, putting them on Facebook, got his whole life, living his whole life. Like somebody just put you in a coma and you woke up and somebody else was living your whole damn life, right? Woo. I want you guys to hear this one, okay? This one is when the child hurts the father, okay? When the child disrespects the father. Listen to what this man is saying, okay? This is deep. Now, he is talking about, too, that relationship with the mother. When that relationship goes sour, how a man is likely to feel about his child. Now, ladies, before you get on a tangent, please understand that women do this too. And this is why I wanted to show you guys this video, because we need to learn how to work with each other better and master ourselves so we can have longer lasting relationships. And it's not just for us. If you truly understand how important your children are to you guys, be living in harmony, then maybe you'll work a little bit harder to sacrifice some of your pride and ego to work together better. Okay, to have a little bit more understanding and patience towards each other. Because when you sever that and things go sour, you guys get sour with each other, the animosity, the anger that you guys show each other can bleed over into how both parties raise their children and feel about their kids. If they're angry with you, they may not be able to love your kid, their own children that's from you, to the same degree as they would if they weren't unhappy with you. And that it's just an epidemic. Just watch this right here. Listen to what this man has to say. Okay.
America, please believe me when I tell you this. This is not all men, but I would say it's about 80% of men. If we don't love your mother, we don't really love you, motherfucker.
Oh, come on now.
That sounds crazy to me.
Well, no.
To me too, here. Let me tell you something.
Not love in that sense, but have some kind of love.
No. Listen to me. Darlene, you and all the rest of the people who not used to this shit. If we don't love your mother, our love for you is hard to we love you out of obligation.
Oh, that's how you feel. Like
To me, that goes for like stepkid, but not me.
Look at D rubbing it on me.
Well,
But it is a case like that. Let me tell you, if we don't
like
love your mother, we don't love you like that. What we do,
terrible.
we try to be moral and humane to you little stray fucks that she kept.
That's so sad.
Is your mama gonna tell you about how many? Boy, you made it out that motherfucking Freddy Krueger boiler room of a womb of your mama. Your mama killed so many of your little brothers just fucking with me. She finally had you, and now I'm supposed to stop everything I'm doing in life for your little ass. Get the fuck out of here. Go over there with your mama and when you.
Man, I'm telling you now, yo. Now look, like I said, as much as you want to criticize and say the brother's wrong for what he's saying, that's a reality that we live in, and that would suck to be a child that comes from that. Yeah, she's had abortions before. Yo, that don't matter. You the child that's here, and if I'm here, you're supposed to love me, man. You're supposed to be there for me. You're supposed to. Like, how can you deny me that because mama ain't right, because she got some problems with my mama? Okay, she ain't got the best character. You laid with her, right? Like, yo, you sitting here messing with the lady. Don't tell me about her now. It doesn't, for me, it's one of those things where it's like, he's saying from a man's point of view, this woman has, potentially had many, abortions or whatever. And now this is the one that she kept. So now I'm supposed to love you. And what I'm saying is like, yeah, you are. Like, you made a baby. That's a sacred act. Like, you don't have to love the woman to love the baby. A lot of people, y'all getting together and y'all using this sacred act for pleasure. And a lot of y'all getting pregnant. And when you get pregnant, man, you're supposed to man up. Yo, it take 9 months to have a baby, right? So to me, it's like if a man gets a woman pregnant, I don't care if you just messed around on the fly or if y'all was training or preparing to have a baby. The moment you know you got a baby coming, I feel like you owe it to that woman to spend that 9 months with her. Make sure she's straight for that 9 months she's carrying your child. Now, look, I guess I can't ask that of men, especially with some of the women that they land with. Probably wouldn't be willing to lay with these men for 9 months. They were just having a fling anyway. But I feel like if she chooses to keep it family, those next 9 months are vital with you being there, because it's not just about having the baby and you being there to see the baby or being there after the baby's born. You being there to protect her, nurture her and the baby. You speak life into the belly of the baby. It's your child, man. It's like it don't matter if you're going to be in a relationship with her. You're going to be the child's father. And I feel like that's what fatherhood and motherhood should look like, is y'all taking the time to spend that time together. It's like the child is in desperate need of that. You understand? So in those 9 months, if you don't know this girl that you just knocked up, you got 9 months to get to know her, man. You got 9 months to get to know her family and start trying to create a family, because you both owe it to your child to give them a family. See, we come out of here mad at the man when he don't be a man for the child. We mad at the mother when she won't be a mother for the child. But we're not mad at ourselves for choosing to bring children into this world with no family. The man that you met, you know this man wasn't family material. And that woman that you sitting here laying with, you didn't take no time to see if she was mother material and family material. So we neglect our children, our whole family. It ain't just the father you neglecting him. He's supposed to have grandparents too. Yeah, he's supposed to have grandparents and aunts and uncles if they had children, if he had brothers and sisters, you know? But we more so just talk about what the father doing, what the mother doing. If we really put more time into our community, okay, when I say that, I mean more thought into the future instead of just our loins, how sex feel. You wouldn't be laying with somebody who you know didn't have a family inside of them, who didn't have family attributes, who didn't have a goal and plans for a family, yo. They just wanting to fuck. And you laying with them. So, I mean, if you don't really have a plan and you don't really have standards towards what it would look like for you to raise your children or who you're going to be as a man or mother or father or woman, then yeah, a person making you mad, you losing love for somebody, can and will dictate how you father or mother your children. But man, that's why you got to have principles and be immovable on those principles, especially as a man. As a man, you are a leader. So before you have a woman in your life, you should have put more thought into who you are as a man and what standards you're going to take as a man. You know what you strongly believe in your heart is right or wrong as far as your truth. As a man, you should be first living that. If you're not a consistent man, you shouldn't even bring a woman in your life. If you're not a woman who understands how to listen and get on somebody's program, you shouldn't even be trying to get with no man. He's got to live. He's got to die for the protection and safety of the tribe ladies. You have to let that man lead. If he doesn't have the skills to lead, the attributes to lead, then you are the gateway to creating that baby. Just tell him no. You guys do not have the right to complain about the bad men that you allowed to father your children. You know who this man was when you laid with him. You guys have the right to say no. Just say no. Let's continue. Like I said, if you know a man does not have what it takes to father a nation, don't choose this man to lay with him if you know you can't listen to his guidance and his leadership. Don't do that, ladies. You have a choice. Why sit here and argue with the man once you get with him? You let him all up in your yoni. You're sleeping with him. You're with him. You're in a relationship with him. You already agreed. Now you want to argue and buck against the system. Man, just get somebody you can submit to. Get somebody who you can follow. If you say he ain't the man that you can follow, then get you a man that you can follow. You have a choice. Let's continue.
Grow up. Let's try to build a friendship.
Maybe those children that didn't have a relationship with the dad, with both parents, sure,
Understand that
maybe.
still.
But if they were together,
Man,
they were a family.
My blood. Listen what I'm saying. Burgers ain't had no kids, so he don't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
But he was a semblance child.
Well, you can make it whatever you want to make it. The nigga dick ain't shot a winner yet.
I got a nephew, man. That's my nigga, man.
Your nephew not your boy. Your nephew not your boy. You can't relate to what I'm.
Hey, listen, so he's saying the other guy don't have any children. Me and the son here, if you have children and you felt that animosity between you and the woman caused you to have a lack of emotions towards your child, and once the relationship ended, you didn't seem to have the same love and affection for your child as you did before. If he said it's about 80% of men, I don't want to say that. I think it's a really extremely high number. But if you're a man on here and you can relate and you have children, let us know. If you went through a breakup, maybe you mastered that and you started performing for your child. I don't want to say that you agreeing with this is any indication on how you father your child, but if you understand what Corey is coming from, just let us know. I've never had this issue, but just hearing it to me was alarming. Go on, chill.
I'm talking about, Marcus. You shooting blanks, nigga. I'm talking to all the niggas who got potent dick, not passionate dick. Potent dick that make other little niggas and bitches. We don't hate you, but if we don't love your mother, we are trying to accept you. Nobody says that. I'm not saying this for every man. I'm saying for 80% of the men. Now, Darlene, we know why you feel like you feel.
No, because that's ridiculous. Because I don't see that coming from a situation, and we don't get along, or we broke up.
What did that man say?
They
Go
have
down
an
one.
excellent relationship, but they
It say-
got it from the beginning.
Hold on. It say, hold on. You passed it. Let it go. Let it go. Go up. Let me see. It say kids are made over. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. What did it say? Marcus got Chad. It say you had.
You burst Chad. Oh, the kid.
Wait a minute. She turned his son against him. That's obvious when a young man is talking bad about his father. It's bitch raisedness. But I'm saying, like, we got to stop acting like the men in the hood are the bad guys. Your mother, you are here because your mother's health was in jeopardy if she aborted another one.
Ladies, before you guys get triggered, he's talking about I'm sure a small percentage of ladies. I'm sure he is not talking about you personally, okay? So even though he's not talking about all of you, even though it may feel like it, okay? So just know that he's only talking about a select few women. You know who you are, you know who you're not. Let's continue.
That's why you're here. If your mother would have aborted you, oh my God. The doctor was like, are you sure you want to do it again, bitch? God damn. That's what happened. But tell Kanye to come on the show. God,
now, okay. What I want to say is that's irrelevant. Whether or not she's had abortions, whether or not once the child makes it here, you got to man up because the child is here. You can't use any of that to not perform as a parent because the child is who goes lacking. The child is who fails to have a mother or father in their life, and then they're the ones that have to stomach most of the pain. So that's not right to hold the sins or whatever you want to hold, the stigmas that you want to hold against the parent, against the child. And I say that to you ladies too. If you find out the man that you had children with is not the ideal man, he's got flaws, he's done things you don't agree with, that's not a reason for you not to allow the man to be a father. He's the father whether you like it or not. You can't go back in time. You can't change that. So you have to allow that man to co-parent his child. It's his child. It's his child, just like it is yours. You understand? So you have to understand that. Even when you realize you're not really proud of the father or the man that you had a child with, wherever you were, whoever you were at the time that you laid with him, that child is a result of who you were at that time. You can't really sever that man's connection with his child because you don't like the man. It's just not right. You understand? And it's the same thing for the men. If you don't like the way the woman's living, you find out that she's loose. You find out that she's not as straight up as you thought she was. You find out she doesn't have the mother qualities that you would expect a woman to have. That's one thing. But what you have done is created a child with her. And so your child has you as a father, and so you must perform. You can't change that. You understand that, and regardless of how much you don't like her, she's that child's mother. Regardless if you don't like the dudes that she picked, She is that child's mother. You've already chosen her. And this is why you got to put more time into the person that you're going to choose to be your child's parent, y'all. This is so important. You do not want a broken child because the person you chose to be the partner won't act right. You understand? Let's go.
United Christ Kingdom. Anyway, look, we ain't gonna always agree on what we say, but I'm here to tell you, some of these kids, you love them in a way that's not like they your responsibility. Your kid that was kept by a bitch that killed some, you don't love the kid as much as you will, because if she killed one of them, your mind prepares you for the rest of them to die. But then she kept one of them and threw your mind on. You like, oh, you kept this one, huh? God damn. Well, let me act like I like it. This is what be happening in the United States. But if you say it, you the bad guy. So 50 Cent is a man of means. He got that paper. He is trying. Look, it's hard to love a motherfucker that don't love you. That little boy ain't showing.
Now, right here, he's talking about, of course, 50 Cent and his son, and his son, of course, being programmed by the mother for all those years to think that 50 Cent's contribution wasn't enough. And the son lashes out at 50 Cent publicly, okay, saying that 50 hasn't been there for him. The son's 25 years old. He now has the thinking, of course, of his mother, and all that's going to be aimed right at the father. Many men will step away from a child and be like, yo, I'll just see you when you're an adult, because we'll talk it all over when you're an adult, because it's so hard cooperating with this woman. It's so hard getting this woman to allow me to see you. She's weaponizing the child. Whatever the case may be, the man may choose to step away from the child and just be like, look, I see you when you grow up. Hopefully we can mend all of this, but I can't, fight through your mother and continue getting played like this in order to be in your life. You would hope that this child can have a conversation with you and not hate you by this time, but fathers, I'm telling you, that's probably not the best route to take, because the children often are going to hate you. They went through life experiencing it without you. You see what I'm saying? So a child, man, early in life, you're their hero, but by the time you let them reach adulthood, a lot of what they've went through, they've projected onto you. If you had just been there, they wouldn't have ended up in the situations that they have been in. A lot of it gets projected on you. I used to do prison ministry some years back when I was a youth pastor and pastor. And a lot of men would tell me that a lack of father in their life is the reason why they robbed a bank, why they committed some egregious crime. If my father had just been there, and I would look at them and say, yo, was your father with you when you committed that crime? You got to take responsibilities for your own actions at some point, man. You can't go through life continuing to ask people to understand, asking people for understanding based on what you went through. The world is just not built like that. When you see these animals born, they're born and they got to get up and learn how to walk. You know what I mean? They got to get up and learn how to move fast, because nature is happening. The weaker animal is the target. So you can't walk around showing your wounds. We live in a world right now, a society right now with brick and mortar and street lights and stop signs and the internet. And we tend to believe that we live in a different world than nature, than within the real world. But we don't. This world's the same way. The same way these animals prey on these smaller animals and there ain't nobody there to save them. It's the same way somebody's going to prey on you if all you do is lead with your pain, lead with what you've been through, victimizing yourself. Nobody's coming to save you, man. Nobody. But as a child with no father, you don't have a man to teach you this. So it's easy for you to carry that victimhood alone and perform poorly based on that victimhood. Hey, my father wasn't there, so let me go around and rob people and rob banks and be this type of person and just say it's because my father wasn't there. Yo, you're going to jail all the same. The consequences are there because the consequences based on what you did, not what you've been through. They may try to argue what you've been through while you're in court, while you're being tried, but ultimately you will be charged for the decisions that you make. So I tell these men this, you can say that when you're young in life, but when you get older, although it still may be true that you are who you are due to lack of parenting, you just don't get to make that excuse. At some point, You got to be responsible for your own actions in your own life at some point. You got to. You can't keep going through life saying it's cause this happened and that happened. Guess what happened to me when I was young, y'all? Guess what I went through? People don't care. They'll chew you up and spit you out. Man, especially if you're raising a man child, you got to tell that man child, look, you toughen up, little soldier. I'm not saying don't have emotions. I'm saying you don't got to go around here showing them to every time Dick and Harry. They don't care. They don't care, man. You know, but anyway, like I said, when I would do prison ministry, a lot of times when I would say this to men, you know, you have to take responsibility for your own actions. Many of them would cry right in front of me in the prison. Men who have done some of the worst crimes would begin to cry because nobody ever said this to them. Like, as common as that seems, like that's common sense, right? You can't keep blaming your father who wasn't there or your mother who wasn't there on everything that you do. You can't keep doing that. At some point, you got to take responsibility. That seems like common sense, but many of these men had never heard that. And so they would begin to weep right in front of me that, so damn, I got to work on me. I got to change me. Yeah, nobody coming to save you. Your father is likely never coming back to restore you. Your mother is likely never coming back to restore you. You on your own, man. I know that sucks. That sucks because a man with both parents will have to learn this later in life. A man with no parents got to learn this early. And it ain't never nothing that you want to hear. Never. We rather believe, that somebody out there protecting us. I don't care if that person's invisible. We just don't feel comfortable believing that we're on our own. But I'm telling you right now, just like a bird can come out of the sky and pick up that damn rabbit, you can get in a car accident. Somebody can harm you. Somebody can break up in your crib. Your life is on the line, I'm telling you, at any moment. Ain't nobody about to save you. So we really got to start living our lives accordingly, acting like we live in the real world. Let's go.
Even though he's 20-something or
Boy,
whatever.
yeah, that's
The little boy, I'm talking about mentally. The little boy ain't showing his father the proper love and respect you're supposed to show your parents. And if you want to find a reason to justify it, go ahead. It's hard to love something that don't love you.
He look just like that nigga.
That sounded kind of like
Just pause that right there. He looks just like him. And now they have these issues with each other because of the programming that's in the child's mind. That's your DNA. That's your future self. That's you recreated again. That is him after your own image. But there is no connection due to the process of the mind, family, due to the programming that the boy grew up with. He does not truly see his father. His father has been there. His father has loved him, done more things for him than most of our fathers could even imagine. And yet he stood in opposition to his father, and his father felt so disrespected, he no longer wanted a relationship with his son. Guys, this is what you call devastation. And this is something that a lot of people go through. And for a lot of children, it hurts when they want to mend that relationship with their parent. But what they don't understand is our day and age, parents around 50 Cent age, I'm born in the 80s too. You born in the 80s, the 70s, possibly a little bit some of the 90s. You was raised on respect, honor, and dignity. You were raised on that. And they didn't care whether or not your parent was respectable. You had to respect them because they created you, man. You understand now, a lot of children today don't grow up with that mentality. They think they can judge their parents for the man or woman that they are. Listen, the world may do that, but you cannot do that, man. That's your God's. And thou shalt not disrespect God. That is an abomination. That's blasphemy. When you look at your mother and father and you disrespect them, you got to understand that in life, it ain't many people that you just absolutely have to respect. But your parents are them. You did not have, listen, you'd have never been here. I had a tough time with this too growing up, trying to judge my father through my own lens. And I can only imagine the pain I put him through, trying to be confrontational and shit. And that is my father. Your father, your mother, whoever they are, is due to their own understanding and upbringing. They're not trying to be bad parents. They're not trying to be bad people. But you got to respect your parents. And I'm telling you right now, it's hard for a parent to see past disrespect because we especially as older generation, we couldn't imagine our children betraying us to the degree that he betrayed his father, speaking out like that online about his father like that, So yeah, definitely, man. You may not like what your parents have to say, but man, it ain't a whole lot of people that you got to respect, but you got to respect your parents. And there's a parable that talks about your life being cut short or your days being shortened due to dishonoring your parents. You got to understand the power of that parable. The moment you speak against your parents, you are speaking against where you came from, family. Absolutely, you shortening your days, and that's regardless of who your parents are. So as children, you got to understand that you're also responsible for keeping your legacy alive through not like tarnishing it. You may have a father that you wish could be better. You may have a mother that you wish could be better, but it's yes, sir. No, sir. It's yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. This is how you treat your God, the person who made you, who carried you in her womb, the person whose seed you spawned from. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. I don't care if she got men running throughout her house and you don't like how many men she's dealing with. It's yes, ma'am. I don't care if the man don't have a job. I don't care if your daddy don't have a job. It's yes, sir. He is to be respected, man. He created you. Do you not understand that you wake up every day thanking God for life when it was them two who joined together and gave you that life? You owe them respect. You do not have a right to judge them by the standards that they live by. I'm telling you now. And when you do that, your parents do not know how to respond to that. I'm telling you now. You're going to get a less version of your parent. You're going to be like, yo, what happened to you? I thought I could just talk about you and treat you any kind of way, and you still going to be a parent. Yo, we wasn't taught how to be parents. We don't know what the hell we doing. There ain't no book on this. Yo, if you cross us, man, we're going to struggle, just like you're going to struggle. So children, you're responsible for being a good child as well. I could have been a whole lot better son. I look at it now and I be like, man, I'm out here telling people my father wasn't there for me like I wanted him to. Man, I should have. My father was amazing. Who am I to do that to my father? He didn't. Man, my father had a different understanding than I had. I'm using my lens, the years I grew up in, to sit here and judge my father. Man, my father was a great man by the measurement of what he experienced. His father, he didn't even know his father. You know, my father, it wasn't a Christmas that I can say went by that he didn't show up, man. It wasn't a birthday that I can say. I mean, I can't say that, but I can say that he definitely showed up for a lot of my birthdays, man. I do know my father. I do. I'm sitting here complaining about how I wanted it to be. I'd rather it have been this way. So that gives me a right to sit here and speak on my father. Yo, that's my father. Yo, what's some disrespect? A lot of us don't have this type of understanding now. My father now, I could say this. He never held it against me. He said, man, that's your life. That's what you went through, and that's your understanding. But I can tell you, when I looked my father in the face and said, man, why weren't you there for me? And all he could do was weep. I thought that was I looked at it like coming from a broken place, but I consider this coming from a hurt place, because how did he know that he wasn't there for me? Based on what his father did for him, he was all that and more for me. Now here I am like, yo, nah, you should have lived with me. You should have been in my life every day. You should have been taking me to school. And I'm using that as a reason to judge him. Yo, you can't do that. Let's continue. Hush gone.
There's plenty of audio and video of 50 Cent trying to be in that boy's life.
When he was younger. Yeah. When he was younger. But when they're older,
but
it seemed like the boy.
When you vetted by a bitch, you would turn against not only the father. I agree. You don't talk crazy to your mama too. Because if you would do that entitled shit, yeah, you would do that. You would do that. If you would do that to your father, you'd do that to somebody else. What you think the boy should do then?
That's not a boy. You mean
it's a boy. He's mentally young.
That's a young man. That he's just.
What do you suggest the boy do, Coach?
He's ungrateful. Look, that to not have a relationship with your actual biological father.
Now, see here is he's ungrateful. He's entitled. He's weak. He's all that. And these are the shame that we do, the inflammatory words, that the stigmas that we put on a person to shame them. But in reality, the boy's hurt. He did not grow up with his father, and he did not ask for a mother to program him. Ladies, please stop programming your children against their father. That is evil. That is literal evil. That you will get into a child's head and take their relationship from their father, yo. Seen a video the other day where a little girl was telling the father, I don't want to be used. I don't want to just be on the camera to be used. When That man loves her. That man loves his daughter. But someone else told her that what that man was doing when his heart was full of love was actually full of intent to use her. And now she sees her father as a user instead of a man who loves her. That's what I mean by how strong a person's mind can be programmed. You make them an enemy of their own father whenever you sit here and talk all this shit in front of your children. He ain't there for them. He a deadbeat. He should have came and got you this. He should have bought you more of that. 50 Cent said that he'd buy his son a pair of Jordans, and his mother would say, well, he should have bought you all of them. He can afford it. He's a millionaire. When you don't understand that if you spoil a child, man, you're gonna create a generational curse off of that. You can't let money raise your children. You cannot let money raise your children. It takes a mother and a father and a tribe to raise your children. You guys think that you're good because you got money. You can pay for some daycare. You can take your kids on some trips. You can pay for this school. You can pay to get them off the hook whenever they commit a crime. Listen, you cannot let money raise your children. Money is not going to raise your child to recreate the legacy and carry the legacy on. When you give your child an abundance of things, you oversatiate this system. They only chasing dopamine, so everything that you buy them, family, you're only spoiling them more and more and more. They get less excited about what you do. 50 said if he bought his son a pair of Jordans, and his mother would say, you should have got them all. So now the son is feeling like he was left out, that he was treated badly instead of that he got a pair of Jordans. 50 Cent's thinking, yo, when I was that age, I would have lit up to get a pair of Jordans. Now, I'm buying my son a pair of Jordans, and he feel like he's been done wrong because he's expecting more. His expectations is that I should have bought him more because I have $1 million. But that's not logical, family. And a father, you got to understand, if you do that, if you spoil your children based on what you have now, I got more, I want to give my child things I never had. Instead of the mindset, teach them what you never learned, you will likely spoil your children, and you will break a lot of the characteristics that you actually built within yourself. They have the propensity to have consistency, okay, to have work ethic and all those things that you cultivated while you were poor. You understand? While you were poor. But whenever you spoil them, you kill those attributes that you've planted in them. You understand? That you should see the benefits. There are benefits to coming up poor. You have to have a plan. You got to have a budget. You got to have structure. Whenever you go from poor to rich and you forget the fact that you were poor, you lose all the structure. You lose all the budgeting. So the being poor, family, should have been a time in your life to learn how to manage money. But when we get rich, we completely forget about being poor and just start squandering money. No budget. And we tend to waste a lot. You understand? And a lot of it goes to our children. We buying them Louis Vuitton because we got Louis Vuitton. Your child don't understand what Louis Vuitton is. You're buying that stuff to fit in socially, for status. You're buying that stuff to fit into fashion, and you can afford it. You've earned the money. If you want to spend that on that, that's absolutely fine. But your child don't give a darn about no Louis Vuitton. They don't care about status, none of that. And if you raise them on that, you got to think you're only raising them to be good robots to this matrix. They'll only be materialistic children who chase dopamine. Dopamine. You got to think your future selves ain't going to be in good hands in that way. Yeah, they'll be cute. They'll be wearing the cutest clothes. Do you understand? They'll be real cute, but they're not going to have any real skills. They're not going to really know how to function in society. They'll be spoiled brats who look down on people who don't have that article of clothing that they have. You don't want to raise your children to think they're better than other people because you're their parent. You don't want to raise your children to think that they're better than other people because they have some clothes, man. It takes so much more than that to make a man, to make a woman. It's about character. And that's the saddest part about schools, that it does not teach you that. They teach you that life is about fitting in and status and popularity, man. All schools should be uniform, and children who earn to wear their own clothes should be able to wear their own clothes. But that's based on keeping good grades, excelling in school, showing good qualities in school. Should you be allowed to wear these types of things? You understand? But you just dressing your kid up like a beauty pageant and sending them to school. And so, like I said, that's not really teaching them how to function in society. A lot of them end up with a really warped view on life. they'll look at another human being and think they're better than that person. Just because the other person can't afford the damn clothes they got on their back. And it's just clothes, man. I don't care what brand yours say on it and what brand mine say on it. They clothes. I cannot sit here and make that think that I'm better than you. You understand? You might say, well, it says a lot. Nah, it does. It says a lot, but it doesn't tell you the character of a person. It doesn't tell you the true value of a person. Let's continue.
And yet he was giving you that type of money. I don't understand his mental. Like, okay, that's, dude, you got to.
Money equates to friendship.
Obviously, he doesn't. No,
What
but
you
not
say?
everybody has to do that. Look, he's 25.
You
It's
said
not-
what I think the boy should do?
Yeah.
It's not what I think the boy should do. Life will show you the motherfuckers that ever did something for you, who they are. Life is going to show you. 50 Cent has obviously done for the boy.
a lot. That's a lot at this age.
When life kick in for real, and the villains.
Now, look, you guys, we're not going to measure ourselves according to what 50 Cent has done. He was giving his baby's mother $500,000 a year, and then she wanted more, ended up taking him to court, I believe, and all she ended up getting was $6,700 a month. Compared to $500,000 a year, that's a humongous deduction. And so 50 Cent felt like, I'm going to leave you with that. Now, many of you guys understand that $6,700 a month is great, and that's for child support. That's not life support. That's not financing her life. This is child support of the child. Okay, $6,700 a month is what he was giving her. Now, a lot of you guys, a lot of you men out here, you look at this and you say, okay, I've done this and I've done that. I've done this by her. I've done this right by her, and she's still acting this way. And by the time you've put out all these finances and you've done everything, she still will keep you from your children. She still will make you be a second-class parent, because a lot of times when you're in a relationship with a woman, she sees the relationship as you're the mother, she's the father. I mean, she's the mother, you're the father, and it is a 50-50 relationship. You guys are 50-50 for the child. The parents are equal. But once you go through a breakup, she usurps that power and she takes it all for herself. And now you're a second-class parent who has to be where she tells you to be for the party. She gets the child on vacations. I mean, for holidays. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get her every other weekend whenever she wants you to. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you're not acting right, you can't talk on the phone to her. If she doesn't think you're the right type of father, she can judge you for it. This is outside of the things that you've done. So a lot of men, what they'll do is try and keep their receipts so they can prove that they've been effective in tangible things. But a lot of times when all of that's going on, there really isn't much of a connection between that man and his child. Now, while he's trying to keep all these receipts and do all this right for the time he go to court, that the relationship with the child is a little bit severed, because he can't really focus on that child with all of the animosity he has going on with the parent. That's why I say harmony is the key, family. You're going to have to work with this person regardless, whether or not you're in a relationship with him or whether y'all go y'all separate ways. When you choose this person to have a child with, regardless of what happens, that person is in your life. You understand? So it's important that we function in a way that the children can be healthy and get what they need from both parties. You understand? It's very, very important, family, because if you don't, you're going to hurt your children ultimately. You're making all these moves to satisfy how you feel in the moment, but you're not understanding how important it is for your child to have their mother and father. They ain't tripping about all that stuff you tripping about. You tripping about all that stuff, using that as reasons to not be a father or for her to keep him from being a father. Let's continue.
Surround you. You're going to appreciate somebody who ever really did something for you. Even
Sure.
if you're too ornery to admit it, life will show that boy what's really happening out here.
Yeah. And it doesn't help, because it seems like at this point, looking at the timeline and like all the different the arguments that they've had, it seems like the mother was involved. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I'm just saying it does seem like, because there's no way that, that kid can be, how you say, a mother has to step in at some point and say, look, I don't agree with what you're saying. Don't do that, or don't act like this, or whatever. And it doesn't seem like she had any kind of control over that kid, because I had to flip it out.
I had a beauty place where my daughter can go in there and get her hair done. Then her mama started going in there and getting her hair done and putting it on the
credit?
bill.
Oh.
So I
my.
cut it off because her mama was jealous that her hair looked better than her.
Oh.
So her mama knew I was gonna cut it off when I found out. So she made it where her daughter hair don't get done. Funky bitch. I'm supposed what? Is something wrong with me for telling the motherfucking truth? My daughter called me when she was 16 talking about, Daddy, I need a coat. I'm like, how the fuck you ain't got a coat? So
Somebody
I
said,
wound up getting her a coat. Okay. But when my daughter was 18, I showed her all them checks that her mother get in her name every month.
And she should have
How the
for
fuck
anything.
you ain't got a coat?
Right. Yeah.
A funky bitch ain't finna take care of the kids with that money. A funky bitch gonna take care of herself and the nigga that's working her right.
Now that's deep, because a lot of times the men are looked at as deadbeat parents because the mothers have the children in her custody. So she goes under the radar for having low quality. She's mismanaging the funds that's sent to her to raise the child off of, the child support. She gets in between the child and the relationship with their parent. She tries to get the man to finance her in life without not only just the child, but her also, and tries to act entitled simply because she has his child. Do you understand? And meanwhile, this woman gets to look like she's good in society, but she's actually a problem in society, because that ain't no good mother. That's not a good mother if she's spending up the child support on materialistic things for her to go out and be cute in. That's not good. So the man is called a deadbeat because he's not physically in the child's life. But if the woman mismanages the funds that the man is giving her when he's productive, and she's coming in between the relationship of the man and his child, what is that? What is that? Because we see that all the time now. At some point, we got to call a spade a spade. I'm going to play a couple more seconds and then we're going to end this one.
Ain't no funky bitch finna do right by no motherfucking kids. If that bitch getting motherfucking 100,000 a month, by the time that child is 20 years old, ain't none of that money there no more. Because you gave it to a bitch who want to shine and look good on Facebook and hang around people that ain't gonna be there for later in life.
And the way he said this is so harsh, but this is one of the reasons why I say men need to be in the home. It is men whose inherent job is to leave an inheritance to their children. This is not typically how women think. And so a man in the life is going to be thinking about owning property, hopefully, providing a place that his children can have for the long term. You understand? Destiny. A lot of times the women, the way we're raised now, our women are really chasing materialistic things. And so they're really not thinking about long-term things for the children. They're living in these momentary materialistic things that make them feel good. You understand? If that's fine when you're single, but when you have children, you have to keep your child as your priority, and you have to live like you have a child. So a lot of times we don't have any funding saved for our children, and we still live in paycheck to paycheck, living life by chasing fashion, chasing the hottest vehicles or whatever the case may be, trying to be at the latest scene, having fun, spending all our money at the clubs and whatnot. We're doing all of these things while we have children. When you go through different stages in life, and I think a big problem, and I'm gonna be done with this video. I think I'm done with this video right now. I think a lot of the problems is the different stages of life that we go through, family. We're not prepared for them. We're not trained for them. You understand? So I think we should get back to a place of where we do rites of passage. Like in other cultures, they have a rites of passage where you have to do a couple of things to earn your right to being a man, to being a woman. Okay, we don't have that now. So a man can have no skill or a lot of skill. We really don't judge him based on that. The same thing with a woman. So I really feel like if we actually understand the stages of life, the moment that you have children, here's what your life should begin to look like. You got 9 months to figure it out. If you're not financially stable, you got 9 months to figure out a way to take care of a baby. Okay? You have 9 months. Prepare yourself, man. The mothers, you have 9 months to learn how to take care of a child, to learn how to learn more about that man so you can actually be cooperative with that man. Okay, to learn more about what that man's plan is for life, what his views are for his children. You got 9 months to try and get a grip on that. Pause. Because that baby ain't about to slow down for y'all. But I think the universe gives us that time so we can make preparations for being good for our fathers. You understand? What that meant, what Corey Holcomb was saying is really, really difficult to hear. But the truth is that goes on in our societies, and you can see that reflected in our communities, y'all. A lot of men, a lot of women are having children and just not be doing right by them. And a lot of it's linked to how they get along interpersonally, which is why I say know who you're dealing with. You understand? Someone says, they're not making sense. How is she a deadbeat mom when she has the child in the home, but the man is never home? I just explained how she was, I didn't necessarily say she was a deadbeat. I explained how she's not the best mother because she's not using the funds for the child. She's using them on herself. If your child was living with the man and you sent the man child support for the child and he was using it on Jordans and ball caps, what would you say about that man? So what would your view be of that man? So I didn't give the mother a name on what type of person she would be if she is misusing the funds. But you ask yourself, what would you call a man who was misusing your child support funds that you were sending to him had he had the child? How would you look at that? Because that's not actually productive to raising healthy children. You misusing the funds. You understand? It's one of those things whenever someone says something you don't want to hear, you guys start self-exposing. Okay? You guys are worried about what name somebody calls somebody. If I called it a deadbeat mother, so what? Maybe she should use the money on the child instead of herself. It's called child support, family. She's not got her child first in her mind. She's putting herself first. What would you call that? The literal money that's sent for her child, she's spending it on herself. She's coming in between the relationship of that child and their father by saying things that program the child into seeing the father through negative lens. What would you call a person who would distort and take away the view of their father? What would you call a person who did that? Y'all not understanding that. Outside of child support, what would you call a person who would go inside of the mind of their own child and make them look at their parent differently? Ladies, if you had your child living with the father and everything you did, he manipulated around and make it seem like it was negative, talk badly about you. You come home he comes home with something, you tell the child, that's all she got you. I would have got you more. She should have got you more. And you keep on messing with the child's mind till the child don't even know how to see their parent anymore. What would you call that? Y'all worried about being called a name. What I'm telling y'all is if y'all have these behaviors, you're going to ruin your family line. And yeah, you feel like it's all fine right now. You feel like it's all good right now. But whether or not you were called a deadbeat, your child will be experiencing you coming in between their relationship with their parent. Your child will be experiencing you spending the money on yourself instead of them. And in 5-10 years, you're going to see that reflected. You're going to wonder why you're in the environment that you're in because you didn't listen today. Y'all always want to argue with the damn universe. You never want to listen. You never want to change your ways. And then you wonder why the universe don't keep giving you what you got. It's so crazy. Y'all literally sit here and just walk through the mud and look back and wonder how you got mud in your house when you could just avoid the mud altogether. And you're worried about being called dirty, but you track mud through your house. Why are you worried about what you're being called? You're living in shit. If you living on the streets, why do you care if somebody call you homeless? Why do you care? You called me homeless. Yo, you on the street in the cold. Your child is fucked up. Your child don't know if they coming or going. They don't know who they are. And you worried about somebody calling you a name. Y'all need to grow up. Life ain't all about shaming somebody. Your behavior is what's creating the environment around you. If you don't change your behavior, you can forget about somebody shaming you or trying to make you feel bad for how you living. Your kid gonna be a reflection of how you living. And by that time, it's gonna be too late. And it ain't gonna matter what nobody say. It ain't gonna matter what name somebody call you. You understand? It ain't gonna matter what somebody call you, man. When your child out here messed up, don't know who they are, don't have a relationship with their father, broken. All they do is recreate their same pain because hurt people. And then when they have a child, they abandon them too because they don't understand the love of a father. Yo, you create that every day of your life. These children ain't making no just waking up with saying, I don't want to be no good daddy. Nah, they grow up seeing that shit. Bit by bit, we pour toxicity in them and expect them to come out clean. And we wonder why we're looking at people who broken. We raising these broken people. It's always sad to me when the old folks start complaining about the new generation like they ain't the ones that made them. Yo, take some accountability for how we lived our lives, man, for the shit we say out loud in front of these kids. It's our fault. Each one of you that's in a different generation ahead of the next, it's your fault. Maybe not personally, but as a generation, you contributed to the next generation and how they see the world. You know that. So stop blaming them. Talk to them. Try and reason with them. Try and show them the way. But it's through us being misled that we mislead. We all see the problems with our family, man. A sabotager. You're absolutely right. How dare you? And it's so sad because our communities are so messed up. There's no unity. We don't understand what a family and tribe is, man. We don't know how to act because we let our emotions dictate what we're doing. None of us took the time to plan out who the man or woman that you're going to be. Have some damn standards. Have a philosophy about yourself. Take time and decide the person that you're going to be. And don't let nobody change that. Too many times we be like, well, since you didn't treat me right, I'm going to be a worse person. I'm going to treat you, but I'm going to treat you wrong. You should have did this. You should have did that. And we think that's an excuse for us to poorly perform when your child watching you. They ain't going to do as you say. They're going to do as you do. And when they're repeating your actions, it ain't not going to be shit you can say. It ain't going to be nothing you can say. Kids are watching you to perform exactly how you perform. They ain't listening to you. You can talk to you blue in the face. If you say one thing and do another, that's exactly what they're going to do. They ain't going to say, let me just listen to what daddy and mama say and not do what they do. They're going to talk. They're going to walk a different walk than what they talk, just like you. They ain't going to think that about anything about integrity. They can tell a lie and not feel bad for it. They can look you right in your damn face and tell a lie and not feel bad. You know why? They ain't had no damn, they wasn't raised right. They wasn't raised right, man. They'll start a damn rumor. They don't give a fuck about what they just did. They don't understand consequences. They don't understand what they're saying can make other people's life a living hell. All of this is happening because we ain't doing our part. We raising our children, we should be teaching them how to master their emotions first of all. So they don't get out here and throw their whole life away because they was mad or upset or depressed because they had a heartbreak. We should be talking to our children about these things, not leaving it up to the school to do that, y'all. It's easy to follow your rules until they're emotional. You can talk to your children about abstinence, but it's easy to be abstinent until your loins start calling. You understand? When you're actually in it, you feel it too. So it's harder to go against all of that. So that's why you got to take time and build up your platitudes, okay, your philosophy, so you can have something to stand on whenever you're confused, whenever you feel like doing somebody wrong or behaving in a way that feels right at the time. This is when you can lean on your platitudes, your standards, family, and they should be something that you take that you have pride in. You can never break your own standards. I don't care if somebody else do. It just proves you a better person than them. They don't live by your standards. They live by their own. I don't know, family. Ladies, I'm hoping that you guys see this video and understand the importance of working with that man, whether or not you guys are in a relationship, and how you treat that man could bleed into how he sees his child. Fellas, I need you to understand how you treat that woman could bleed into how she sees her child. If you're not showing up like you're supposed to, a lot of that shit she's going to say right to your child, man. She's going to express that. She ain't always thinking about that child being in the room. So she's going to be talking to people about it. And a lot of times your child going to soak all of that up. Keep that in mind, man. Keep that in mind. But I think you as parents need to definitely have some type of conversation to where you agree to never spew out your personal opinions when you're angry towards your children or in front of your children. You can warp how they see their parents. And listen, children, man, they get one chance to truly have their father or mother. Don't change how they see them. Don't do that to them, man. You see how broken children are. They don't have their mother and father. You see that. So now that you can see that there are many, many different conditions that contribute to a man not being a father, let's try and do the things that we can control. We ain't talking about those men who just absent-minded, out of sight, out of mind, who don't want to be there. It ain't mine type of dudes. We're talking about the dudes who genuinely wanted to be there, but got cheated on, got their heart broke. Men, talk some sense into these men. Tell them that their emotions is one thing, but them being a father is another. To those men who've been disrespected by their children, tell those men, look, your child does not have the same understanding as you. They were raised and programmed. If your child is willing to have a conversation with you, now take that time and try and teach them if they're willing to. If they are not willing to, though, then absolutely not. Other people in life, we can make a decision to not forgive them if we don't want to. But your children, I believe you owe them at least one. Now, I don't know how many times 50 Cent has forgiven his child, but if I was talking to 50 and he said this was the first time, I'd say, look, man, I had that sit down with your son. Because 100 years from now, man, it's going to matter. Right now, you may be in your emotions. You may be feeling disrespected, highly disrespected, in fact. What he did was wrong. And he is a grown-ass man. But he's not a grown-ass man mentally. You have to understand that. He's not a grown-ass man mentally. And he didn't ask to be taught those lessons that his mother taught him. I'm not trying to make excuses for him because at some point, listen, your shit is on you. But I believe that once his child started speaking online and hearing other people's opinions, telling him, yo, $6,700, that's a lot of money, and you really tripping. I think once he's heard that, he's got some different perspectives. And a lot of times in life, that's who we are. We are the information that we've taken in, and we haven't had many other perspectives. That's one of the good things about the internet. You know what, you understand? So one of the good things about the internet is you can get a lot of people's perspectives, okay? And you can kind of see through a lot of people's lens and get more views than what you already have, and you have more to work with. And I think that's what happened, man. So if he's asking for an opportunity to speak with his father, saying, look, maybe I've had a change of heart. I'm interested in getting to know you outside of what my mama taught me. I just want to get to know you as a man. Can we still do that? If I'm 50 Cent, I would. I 100% would, okay? I think that people understand that what his son is saying doesn't hold any weight. So what his son did is disrespectful, but it's not like it's true. It's a misunderstanding on his son's part. So the whole world is going to do enough to make sure his son understands what he did. But 50 Cent on this part, I feel like you shouldn't live in the mistakes of your child. You should more so be guiding your child. When your child doesn't live up to who they believe they are, even who you want them to be, I think that's up to us to begin to mold them and speak life into them, so that can help them become who they want to be, who they're supposed to be. 50 Cent, you didn't get to do your part all these years. Maybe if you're able to do your part some now, and I know he's 25, but that don't matter. That's your child. You understand? So if I were you, I'd at least get this man sometime, and try and build a relationship with him. And if he's acting entitled, if he doesn't show appreciation for that, then of course I understand that. Obviously, you don't got to do what I'm asking you to do, but I'm just saying, me as a man, I probably would do that. Obviously, you've been through a lot behind some of the decisions that he's made, but I'm asking you, just consider, your legacy, man. That is your future self. It's so sad when you see that, man, like a child and their parent relationship severed. It's so sad when you see that. And a lot of you guys, y'all don't, maybe y'all grew up in perfect homes. Maybe y'all don't understand this at all, what kind of pain this brings on the child and the father and the mother, the whole family. I'll say this before I go. When you guys are pregnant, you have to understand that now things have changed. There's a baby on the way. Okay, so get to know each other. Get to know people's outlook on life. How are you guys going to raise the baby? What religion are y'all? You should have already been asking these questions. Okay, but get introduced to the parents on both sides. They about to have grandchildren too. You understand? For me as a father, of my children, if my children forsake their children, then their children got a father in me, because I'm that type of father. So if something happened to my daughter, if my daughter was to become some deadbeat mother and just left the kid, then I got another daughter. You understand? If my sons fail to father their children, those mothers can come see me. I will stand for my children. They'll be my children. And that's how I'll treat them. You understand? So I don't know what type of, a lot of times, like I said, we don't have tribe. I love my children so much that even if they fail to be parents, and I would be a parent on their behalf, I wouldn't allow their children to go through not having a father, or at least not having their grandfather in their life. That's the type of man that I am. You understand? But that's why I believe so much in tribe. You know, I believe so much in tribe. Those 9 months, introduce each other to those family members, man. In case something happened to y'all, they know that they ought to step up. But a lot of times we be like, shit, I ain't got to do that. That ain't my kid. I didn't make that kid. And that's why I say, man, that's why we're so broken. I promise you, yo, we don't care. We truly don't. We say we do, but we don't. Your actions speak so loud that I can't hear you. I can't hear your words. You know, your actions speak so loud. You're gonna have to speak up, because the way it looks, we just bring children into this world ill-equipped. I always say, we're birthing preemies. We are preemies. We're premature parents. We don't know how to be a parent, so we're going to birth premature babies. We're not going to give them everything that they need. We're not going to give them the tools to really survive in this world, because we're premature ourselves. We don't know what we're doing, man. You know, a premature child is when you have a baby before it's fully, it's full term, before it reached full term. So a lot of times it has to be in an incubator so it can get the nutrition that it needs until it reaches a certain size and be healthy enough to live on its own. You understand? A lot of us, we need to be in a spiritual, mental incubator, a place where we can get data and get nourishment so we can go out and be the type of people, functioning adults that we need to be. Because we were raised by premature parents and we don't know what the hell is going on half the time. And when we're like that, lost, all we do is create a generation of lost. All we do is create a generation of broken, because we're broken, and the generational curses will continue. Family, take the time to do internal work to become a better person so that you can become a better father, a better husband, a better wife, better people for the children that you create, because it's so important that we master ourselves so we can have a harmonious relationship with our children and the parents of our children. Our life and legacy is depending on it. Be evolution. Be the change that you want to see. No candle loses its flame from lighting another. And if you were to ever find yourself in the middle of chaos, it is in that chaos that you find yourself. If you like the content, please share the video. Stay tuned for more information that can help you be a better man or a better woman in your life. I love you all. Thank you guys for joining me on this beautiful Friday. Peace to y'all. See y'all soon. Respect, Troy.